Tonight on NAIT NewsWatch.
We look at protection methods as STIs are on the rise.
You'd be able to bring down gonorrhea and syphilis and chlamydia rate.
A local group in Edmonton raises money to combat skin cancer.
I think it's great because it brings awareness to people, in the 20 to 30 demographic.
And we check in with an Edmonton athlete as she prepares for the Olympics.
I tend to keep getting injured, but Olympics are still a little whiles away.
NewsWatch Extra starts right now.
Welcome to NAIT NewsWatch Extra.
This week's show is a little bit different from what you've traditionally seen in the past from us.
We spent the last half year working on stories involved in this community.
And our first story for this week has to do with STIs and how they're on the rise in Edmonton.
Our reporter Lauren Fink has more on that story.
In an effort to combat the ongoing battle of sexually transmitted diseases and infections in the province, Alberta Health Services launched their Sex Germs website and campaign, a follow-up to the Plenty of Sif campaign in 2011. The campaign's focus is on gonorrhea, the second highest STI in the province, following the unrecognizable chlamydia. A cold isn't the only thing you can catch is the campaign's slogan and focus. Dr. James Talbot explains why.
It's the idea that these are the kinds of precautions people take every day, making sure that the toilet seat is clean, not being around people who are coughing and sneezing. And if they did the same kind of precautions when it came to having sex, you'd be able to bring down gonorrhea and syphilis and chlamydia rate.
The campaign, which targets 15 to 35-year-olds, not only uses advertisements to get the message across, but an interactive website as well.
That the more people have the chance to get the information that they want in a way that doesn't seem like it's a lecture, it feels more like a game, or it feels more like an education, that the better the chances that they'll incorporate that into the way that they behave.
Although the AHS campaign is focused mainly on gonorrhea, Albertans remain affected by all sexually transmitted diseases. Sammy Silver shares her friend's story.
And he just didn't tell her. She trusted him, and he didn't tell her that she needed to be careful with him. And she trusted him, and they had unprotected sex, and she got herpes from him.
Sammy hopes that one day her friend's story will be a rare one.
The only way we're going to get there is with education and to stop blaming people for having STIs.
To decrease your chances of contracting an STD, AHS recommends abstinence, being in a monogamous relationship where you communicate with your partner, getting checked regularly, and using contraceptives like condoms. Although there's nothing fun about sexually transmitted diseases, there are plenty of contraceptives on the market aimed for safe, fun sex. Lauren Fink, NAIT NewsWatch.
Heading out to the beach this winter may have more risks associated with it than you may have initially thought.
And a local fundraiser is bringing attention to skin cancer.
Anastasia Goddard has more on this story.
Owen Schlosser was born and raised in Edmonton, Alberta in a large family of 6. As an avid member of the athletic community, Owen loved to play sports and coach tennis. He was devoted to staying healthy and taking care of his body. So it was a shock to everyone that in the winter of 2009, Owen was diagnosed with stage 4 melanoma.
Then it took them a couple weeks longer, I guess, or a little bit longer to determine exactly what stage of melanoma it was at. And by the time they kind of had finished all the scans and everything, they found out that it was already progressed to stage 4. So it was pretty serious.
Skin cancer by far is the most common type of cancer in Canada. Melanoma alone is the second most common type of cancer in young adults, but it is also one of the easiest to prevent. Simple steps like staying out of the sun and using SPF of 15 or higher when in contact with the sun, avoiding tanning beds, and looking for skin changes of any kinds. These can include a spot or sore that continues to itch, hurt, crust, scab, or bleed, and any unusual mark that changes in color, texture, size, or appears after the age of 21. Cancer will, at some point in your life, affect you or someone you love.
So the lifetime risk is now about 1 in 66. People will end up with melanoma before they die.
On June 2nd, 2009, after only 4 months, Owen lost his battle to cancer.
I think as soon as Owen passed away, everyone sort of thought, what can we do to help and how can we bring more awareness to this? And
Friends and family decided to remember him the best way they could, through sports. And it all started here with a street hockey tournament.
Win for Skin started in March of 2010 and is an annual street hockey tournament held at the Brookside Community Hall that has grown every year to include a banquet and silent auction.
I think it's great because it brings awareness to people, in the 20 to 30 demographic, for sure.
Money raised goes towards the Mary Johnston Chair for Melanoma Research at the Cross Cancer Institute, and also an endowment fund for underprivileged athletes, both under Owen's name.
Short-term goal of, providing young kids with the ability to play sports and stuff that they otherwise couldn't, while also investing in, our future and involving more cancer research and providing funding towards that.
So far, the event has raised a total of $240,000 split between the two causes. With such immense success, the planning committee hopes to garner more awareness among young people and continue to raise money for the cause. Anastasia Goddard, NAIT NewsWatch.
The Aboriginal Student Centre here at NAIT is a great haven for many Aboriginal students.
NAIT even had their own Aboriginal Appreciation Day. Our own D'Artagnan Johnson has the story.
From traditional drumming and singing to the jigs of the Métis, it's a side of being Aboriginal that elders believe is slowly being lost among Aboriginal youth. NAIT held its Aboriginal Day to bring a sense of community for Native youth and to offer everyone a chance to see what heritage and culture means for today's young people, especially girls. Elders say old customs and heritage are slowly becoming a thing of the past, as only 4% of the Canadian population has reported Aboriginal status, according to Stats Canada. The Aboriginal population is younger, though, than the non-Aboriginal population. Children under the age of 14 account for 28% of the Aboriginal culture. Natasha Druin, a young Métis, spoke about her family and their involvement with the heritage.
I wasn't really brought up much with my culture and my heritage side. I don't think the culture shaped me much just because I didn't pay much attention to it. Had I paid attention to it, I think it would have very much affected the way that I am today. For the most part, my family somewhat steered away from it. But then personally, I've gone through and taken a self-interest in it because I think it's part of my culture and I'd like to get to know it better.
The elders at the Teepee Risings touched upon the importance of community and working together to create an understanding of the culture. Cree elder Walter Bernays spoke about the importance of females in today's society.
It's important that young girls need to understand and aware of how important they are as young women. A young woman is a very important person, better than a man. We want to make young people understand the importance of who they are.
Bernays explained that women birth the earth and that respect for women and children is what's missing in today's society. The teepee is a woman's home, and the sticks up top represent the spirits to help guide those that enter. As important as heritage is for the Aboriginal, a stronger focus has been placed on just being who you are.
I think in this day and age, people should be more concentrated on what makes them a human being rather than what their culture makes them.
Much like the teepee represents a community, it's important to find yourself within that community. D'Artagnan Johnson, NAIT NewsWatch.
Coming up after the break, we take a look at a local figure skater's journey to the Sochi Olympics.
Yeah, I'm really excited to skate for it. I should be back on the ice soon and then ready to train for it, and yeah, it will be good.
Through friendship and family, Legacy's One Dance Group is keeping the Ukrainian tradition alive.
It's truly a passing of the torch to a new generation, and it just warms my heart to see her enjoying something that I so love to do.
And we see how one hockey player transitioned from the WHL to the University of Alberta Golden Bears.
It's not too bad. I mean, it's something you gotta get used to.
Hey D'Artagnan, how you enjoying the ice?
I love it. Are you trying out for the Olympics?
Oh, well, I was thinking about it, but the Olympic women's hockey team's already been picked.
That's true. We have a local Edmonton figure skater here, Caitlin Osmond, who's trying out for the Olympics.
Really? We're sending an Edmontonian all the way to Sochi.
We sure are. And Sarah
Nice.
Stillwell has more on that story.
18-year-old Caitlin Osmond stormed onto the international figure skating scene last year after claiming the Canadian national title and 2 international titles.
My main goal this year is to make it to the Olympics for one, and then place top 6 at both the Olympics and Worlds by the end of the season.
Following a stress reaction in her foot earlier this year, Caitlin was struck with another injury at her first competition of the season.
When I woke up from my lung program, I ended up somehow managing to get a hamstring injury, and I ended up withdrawing. So I'm still recovering from that, and thankfully it's getting better.
Many figure skating injuries are often diagnosed late, if at all.
They're used to the poles and the nags and the sore feet and blisters, and they tend to just train through that. And obviously a main concern for them is, when can I get back?
The setback of the injuries kept her off the ice for weeks. Her recovery started with Pilates, upper body work, and core work until being allowed back on the ice.
She started back just with stroking and choreography and light skating, and then after a few days of that, we just gradually increased the time on the ice, and started doing more of the harder things like the jumps.
They have a return to play, just like hockey has a return to play policy, where they have to go through a variety of stroking, which is endurance based. And when they can do that, then they might be able to return to just spins or just choreography.
For athletes, keeping their goals in mind and taking small steps toward recovery are crucial.
It also makes them feel like I'm doing something versus I'm doing nothing, sitting at home, and that's the hardest part for athletes.
With the Sochi Olympics only 2 months away, Caitlin and her team believe her Olympic dream is still in reach with proper mental and physical training.
Supporting her progress, taking it appropriately slowly when she needs to, and it looks from today and how solidly she's skating today that she's definitely on track.
Hope by the end of the season she can look back and say that, first of all, she's really enjoyed it. She's had hopefully she's made the Olympic Games and done very well there in the World Championships, and peaking at the right time, peaking January, February, March.
The Olympic team will be picked in January at the National Championships in Ottawa.
Olympics are still a little whiles away, and I have lots of time to practice for it, so it's still looking really good.
I think these Alberta skaters are really young and up and coming, have a lot of talent and abilities.
Sarah Stillwell, NAIT NewsWatch Extra.
In 1969, Cherimosh was started by Chester and Luba Coots.
Now, the dance group is home to over 350 alumni, and the Cherimosh Dance Group, as well as their School of Dance, is constantly growing.
Our very own Kelsey Lidnyuk has more on that story.
In 2004, Cherimosh bought St. Paul's Catholic Church. They were recently granted $192,500 by the federal government from the Community Infrastructure Improvement Fund, and $116,000 from the provincial government from the Community Facility Enhancement Program for a complete overhaul of the building.
And then we just tried to clean up and spruce up the place. So now we've opened things up and tried to make the spaces more usable for the dancers.
In November, they held a reboot of the studio to celebrate the new renovations. And with the renovations, they were able to make the studio into a home for the dancers to celebrate the past, present, and future of Cherimosh. Dancers are able to reflect on the past and create lifelong friendships through the bonds that they create within dance.
Friendship is a huge part of Cherimosh. It's the kind of thing, ever since we were university students, we came to rehearsal Wednesday night, Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, and we would dance together, we would have fun together.
Most of my friends, current friends, are all from dancing. My wife, her and I met through dancing.
Friendships between families are forged, and a continuous passion for dance is instilled in families as brothers and sisters, daughters and sons, nieces and nephews, and cousins all dance together.
It's a pretty incredible feeling to see them dancing like we used to dance as little kids.
And so when I watch her on stage, it reminds me of all the treasured memories of times traveling, learning the dances, and most of all, spending treasured moments with friends. Cherimosh has traveled around the world, stopping in Ukraine twice. On the last trip, this past June, artistic director Mykola Kanavats received an unexpected surprise, the Virsky Medal.
He became the first non-resident of Ukraine to receive the medal for his work with the company.
When we went to Ukraine and showed our dances, and I can't believe that's a Canadian company, because it's so natural Ukrainian was. All of my colleagues what was in Kyiv in a performance, they said, wow, this is real Ukrainian dance. It's not something else. It's very close to what they do.
With their new studio, Chedamosh looks to continue to preserve the Ukrainian culture through dedication, determination, and pride. Kelsey Lidniak, NAIT NewsWatch Extra.
So, D'Artagnan, you're a big junior hockey fan, right?
I sure am. I love the Oil Kings.
I'm totally with you on that one. You know, our hometown boys are doing pretty well. Yeah. So, we all know about the transition they make from semi-professional hockey to professional hockey, right?
We sure do. The good old NHL.
That's exactly right. But do you know about those boys that maybe aren't fast enough, strong enough, big enough to make the NHL?
Not really. Is there more information on that?
Yeah, there definitely is. Brianne Sakoch has more on that story.
Brett Wyshynski may seem like a regular University of Alberta Golden Bears player, but Brett has 5 seasons worth of Western Hockey League experience with the Edmonton Oil Kings under his belt. He was the hero scoring the game winner in Game 4 of the WHL Finals against the Portland Winterhawks back in 2012.
Search it! It's a goal! Wyshynski opens for scoring!
Brett would end his WHL career with 46 goals and 95 points. The Oil Kings would make it into the WHL playoffs 3 times and make it into the finals once, and would end up winning the WHL championship in his final season with the team, making it to the 2012 Memorial Cup that took place in Shawinigan, Quebec. The Oil Kings would be the first team eliminated. Brett Wyshynski was the longest-serving player in Oil Kings history. He played 244 games with the team. He is now going into his 2nd season with the U of A Golden Bears, and still has that love for hockey, and he continues to show it. Brett is now in his 2nd year of business at the University of Alberta. Since graduating high school in 2009, he has been focusing on hockey with the Oil Kings. Getting back into school after 3 years off is an interesting thing to do, especially as an athlete, because you need to figure out the balance between the sport and school.
It's not too bad. I mean, it's something you got to get used to, but you know, it's a little bit of a challenge, but nothing too unmanageable. The hockey's also a bit of a step up as well. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. There's definitely a level of comfort there, so the comfort factor is nice.
Brett has also gotten the chance to play with some former teammates. He played with Laurent Brossoit when the Golden Bears faced the World Junior Prospects. And one of Brett's current teammates is TJ Foster, who is new to the Golden Bears this season, but played with Brett with the Oil Kings. Brett continues to be seen at different Oil King events. He joined Buffalo Sabres' Mark Pesic at the 2012 season opener, bringing out the Ed Chinoth Trophy, and he participates in the annual Oil Kings Alumni Golf Tournament. With only getting 2 goals and 2 assists for a total of 4 points in his first season with the Golden Bears, Brett Wyshynski is ready to start off the new season with a determination and a love for the sport of hockey. Brianne Sakoch, NAIT NewsWatch Extra.
Coming up after the break, we look at how social media is getting local artist names out in the community.
For that sense of impact social media brings to us, especially for an artist, is crucial.
Edmonton's newest additions to the business scene are finding new ways to network.
It's grown tremendously. We've now introduced a number of different avenues, such as our digital experiences.
And we see how video games are actually helping to relieve stress in students.
When you're having a bad day or something, you don't have to go into reality, you can just go play video games.
Haircut and color provided by Ivory Noir, Edmonton's first color correction salon.
So D'Artagnan, I guess this is a regular Friday night for most young adults, hey?
It is. But a new group made in Edmonton is trying to find an alternative for young adults. Yeah. FB at Menza has more on that story.
Made in Edmonton kicked off their 3rd event since 2012. This organization was created by 4 entrepreneurs to bring some more life into the city of Edmonton. The main reason they started the company was to bring young entrepreneurs like themselves together to market and socialize with the new and upcoming companies. Over time, Made in Edmonton partnered up with complementary brands, individuals, and other groups to create these events. They launched their first event in the spring of 2012, and since then, the attendance of the parties has more than doubled.
It's grown tremendously. Like, we've now introduced a number of different avenues, such as our digital experiences. We now have like a new social media program where we have like Twitter, Instagram, have a new program we introduced of YouTube. We're trying to profile people, and so it's grown quite a bit, and then it's doing bigger and better things for 2014.
Each event held by Made in Edmonton has a theme, and since this happened to fall on Halloween, they decided to have a masquerade ball where guests had the options to dress up in costumes or in black tie attire. The night consisted of meet and greets with the creators as well as the people that helped bring this event together. There was a DJ, a magician, and even a photo booth for newly made friends. Some people have been to a few events, and even though they have missed out on others, they say they're excited to be at this one and look forward to the others to come.
Yes, actually, I wish I went to the Jive Glass House garden party in August. It was the one where everybody wore all white and it was outdoors. It just looked really nice and fun.
The boom of social media has helped this company get their name out there, and they have already started planning for their New Year's party. So if you're a young adult that's looking for something else other than the bar scene, but yet wants to have fun, then check out Made in Edmonton. You can follow them on Twitter and Instagram at Made in Edmonton, that's Made in EDMTN, or you can visit their website at madeinedmonton.com.
So, D'Artagnan, are you aspiring to be a rapper, or what's going on in here?
Well, you know, in this day and age, it's pretty easy to become one.
I guess social media is opening a lot of doors for people, isn't it?
Definitely. My friend Wonder Havoc, who wants to get his name out in the rapper world.
Matthew Casey is an average 24-year-old who works a full-time job and lives a full life. But in his spare time, he becomes Wonder Havoc, his alter ego. He aspires to be a rapper in the Edmonton music scene, but what Matthew and many other aspiring singers are doing is using the power of social media to branch their music on a local and global level.
For that sense of impact social media brings to us, especially for an artist, is crucial. It's essential to everyday connectivity, no matter what it is that you're pursuing, no matter what it is you're pushing out there. So when people see or listen or hear that, that's something that it's like a chain reaction. When one person hears it, they love it, they share it. So then you've already created this big chain of people who can get behind that message.
Common social media sites like Facebook and Twitter are simple outlets for new and established artists, but other sites like Spotify, Reverb Nation, and MySpace are helping new artists emerge. MySpace, which was once used to make profile pages, is now rebranding itself as a music website, much in due to Justin Timberlake, who part owns the company now. However, for Matthew, Reverb Nation is where he posts his music for the world.
Sitting at number 500 in the local charts. As soon as I put out some brand new music this July, I hit a peak record of number 7 in the city. Not only that, but I was in the top 150 nationally. I was able to jump over 50,000 spots globally.
How long has it been since seeing your face? How long has it been since you've been to my place? This memory.
Rander Lin, the owner of Turnkey Studios, which is a recording studio for local artists, finds social media a crucial part of any artist's identity.
There's casual Twitter users like myself who tend to only check Twitter for information, right? So if you're a band that lots of people, like you have a following, then obviously it's an excellent way to get your information out.
Matthew plans to continue publishing his work online to reach new audiences and build his following.
I just put something new out into the world, and I'm so excited to share with people. I've got a couple more songs that I want to put out by the end of the year. After I put out those songs, I definitely want to record a full-length album.
Wonder Havoc's newest single, How Long Has It Been?, which is a new remastered version of an old song, is currently on Reverb Nation and can be downloaded for free. D'Artagnan Johnson, NAIT NewsWatch Extra.
So Kelsey, It's been proven that video games relieve stress.
Our reporter, Kyle Lanchuka, has more on this story.
Violent video games have been the object of much hatred for some time. However, in a recent study done by an A&M University professor in Texas, it was proven that violent video games can actually be helpful in reducing stress. I caught up with a post-secondary student who said that violent video games have actually helped him to reduce his stress levels at college.
Coming up on Tyler and Friends, we got a new song that hasn't been played on NR92 yet. But right now, we got Boston, More Than a Feeling, NR92.
Tyler Detling is a radio student at NAIT who on occasion feels the need to escape from schoolwork and has found comfort in playing video games. A study conducted by Dr. Chris Ferguson has found that while video games like the GTA series and Super Smash Bros. Are violent in gameplay, can still be quite useful for stress relief. Tyler has even said it briefly pulls him out of reality, giving his mind some relaxation.
Take you out of your element. When you're having a bad day or something, you don't have to go into reality. You can just go play video games or something. Same as watching a movie to me, you know. New form of entertainment to take your mind off the real world.
NAIT Counseling Services has taken a middle ground on whether violent video games are helpful or detrimental to a person's stress levels. They go on to say that it all depends on the individual. Margaret Marion is one such individual who believes the theory can vary from person to person.
I think it really varies. Stress is the number one thing that we see here at NAIT in terms of students coming for counseling, but I think for some students playing video games is calming and just getting out that tension, doing it helps. For others it actually escalates the tension. So
Margaret even made a personal suggestion on other stress relief methods besides video games.
If I was recommending something, I would definitely recommend exercise over violent video games for stress, and deep breathing and getting out in nature, but students need to use what works for them.
While there is still no clear-cut answer about whether or not violent video games are useful to stress in the long run, Tyler has found it's a method that works for him. Kyle Lanchuka, NAIT NewsWatch.
Thanks for watching NAIT NewsWatch Extra.
And be sure to catch our last extra show next week.
If you want to see our previous shows, make sure to check out naitnewswatch.ca.
Or follow us on Twitter at NAIT NewsWatch to see what we're all up to.
Thanks for watching and have a good night.